All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Welcome to the Talking Turkey Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Andy the Commission Menez, joined by Cody Hot Cup of Java Williams.
Good evening.
And of course, Tim Mile High Lewis. Welcome, guys. Welcome.
Yeah. Right here.
Yeah, right. We got a special guest in the house. I love it.
Yeah. How's it going?
It could be going better. You guys see I'm rocking my Green Bay stuff. I just left, you can see it's cold outside and it's terribly cold because I'm in Chicago. But I was at a Chicago bar getting razzed a little bit. Got called Shrek a couple times. Got called a green idiot a few times.
As predicted.
Yeah. Stupid cheesehead, all the bits. And so I'm there watching the game at the bar. Watching Jordan Love be terrible in the first half. I'm like, all right, he's got plenty of time to turn around. We got this, guys. Game's going on. Mistake after mistake. Stupid, young penalties and young mistakes from kids who are, catching a punt, dropping it, jumping on the ball, and then getting up again, trying to run with it. It was just a cluster. I was very, very disappointed with what I saw. I'm only happy with the fact that they're a young team and hopefully they can learn from games like this. They should have a better record. But yeah, the Packers, they're always a crapshoot to watch every week because some games they look incredible and other games like tonight when they let Tommy DeVito look like a young Steve Young, it looks just terrible. So what did you guys see? I was sitting there 3 beers deep. I was like, all right, I got to get out of here before tensions get high. And I'll talk about that in a second. But what did you guys take away from that game?
For me, I was watching. I'm with Tim. I was mostly watching the Titans Dolphins. I had some fantasy implications. So with Tim, I was watching Titans Dolphins.
This is true. You guys were watching Miami and Tennessee. It makes sense. As you two will look like me up in for the first round of playoffs, right? So 2 of our hosts here, which we'll get into.
Congrats. Mm-hmm. Congrats to you. Look forward to playing you next week.
Yeah. Congratulating you on your victory. That's not.
Oh, we're not there yet. No.
I know that. I mean, come on. Like I have as much faith in my team as I do in my real life team, the Chargers. So I will be thoroughly shocked if I score more than. I'll throw out 70 next week. I don't even know if Tyreek Hill's going to play anymore. So, But anyway, so. So yeah, we were both, I think, more interested in that game. I did, I kind of watched both, but I just don't understand how the Packers can go from beating the champs, who, maybe aren't that good this year anyway, but then losing to the Giants. I know that Jordan Love apparently had the Chiefs game circled, and maybe he thought that was the last game of the year and just didn't have to play anymore. I'm not really sure because he was great last week and he sucked this week. And, I don't know how much of it was on him necessarily, but still he should have, after how he played last week, for him to have a dud like this week is a little bit weird, but both games ended up being pretty good though. They're a lot closer than I expected. So.
I'm still not a fan of the double Monday night. At the same time, we talked about this earlier in the season. I don't know why they're doing that. Just start one game earlier. But the both games were fun to watch.
But why did they do it this week? I don't know. I don't understand.
Especially with the same start time, no staggering of the games. I don't know.
And plus, they have a
specific reason, but.
Yeah, I don't know. Are they trying to cater to fantasy football players? I don't get it. Knowing everybody's going into the playoffs this week, and because there's 3 games on Saturday this week, right? And then
but there's no college football this week, so I think that's why they stacked that Saturday with a lot of people being home around Christmas time. It's the week before Christmas, leading into it.
That's a good point. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of how they did that. Luckily, that's why I went to the bar. I didn't watch here at the hotel room. I was like, nope, I want to watch both games. I did see a pretty disastrous play with Tyreek Hill getting the horse collar tackle. I know, Tim, you were probably screaming at the TV and just shaking your head in shame, like unreal that your fantasy MVP, getting taken down like that. And but he came back in the game and he did well, right? So are you concerned? Or are you feeling good about his prospects for next week?
Because he's playing. They're playing the Jets next week, so it's not. He did fine against them last time, but still not an ideal matchup. And then I don't think he was 100%. I still think he was kind of limping after that. I think he was out there more as a decoy. He wasn't out there at the end of the game when they needed him. So, the fact that he wasn't out there at the end is very concerning because if they wanted to win the game, they would have had a much better chance at them on the field. So obviously he couldn't go. So it's just frustrating. It's one of those hip drop tackles that a lot of guys have been injured on this year. Mark Andrews, that's how he got hurt, and he was getting horse collared at the same time. I mean, it looked like his ankle could have been broken. So it's amazing some of the hits that get flagged where dudes are totally fine, and then something like that. I just hope he's 100% next week because he's put up. I haven't done the math, but I would guess he's put up at least 25% of my team's total points this year. So maybe more. So if I don't have him, I'm screwed.
Yeah, you can bump it up to 130.
Probably. I mean, he's averaged 20 points a game, so I don't think I've 100. So he's at least 20% of my fantasy points this year. So yeah, it's not looking good if he's not out there.
Yeah, and Cody, you being on the flip side of that, knowing that the person you're going up against might not have the best wide receiver in football. So that obviously bumps up your confidence a little bit, but anyone
slightly.
else?
I mean, with that high ankle sprain, McDaniel's such a smart coach, and Hill only really needs to run in a straight line and beat people deep, and it'll just take one or two catches for him to top 15, 18 points, which in our league for receivers is quite a bit. So I still won't trust it until I see that O next to his name. If he's out there, I mean, you have to start him because the one explosion play he's capable of.
And so
that's been the majority of his points have been 50-yard plus touchdowns this year. It's so yeah, if he's playing, there's no chance I would not start him, but I'm concerned about what the actual injury is, and if he often it got more painful as the game went along, and that's why he wasn't out there, then that's not a good sign. So
yeah, but once the adrenaline kind of wears off and the meds they shot him up with at halftime kind of calm down.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah. If he does play though, does he get the Sauce Gardner assignment? Or I don't remember the last game. Did they keep him matched up 1-on-1, or was it kind of like all of a defense moving around, taking turns on him?
They move him around so much. He goes from that little wing back, like tight end position. He'll sprint and then run in motion. And the Jets do play, quite a bit of zone coverage. So they'll have him all over the field to where Sauce can't really follow him because he's not going to follow him into the slot. He's not going to be in line if he's playing that little tight end spot. So they do so many creative things with him that I don't think they'll be able to shadow him.
They've used him. I think it's impossible to shadow him. I mean, because he rarely just lines up out wide and stays there. He's always going in motion, or like Cody said, he lines up kind of on the end of the line of scrimmage, and he'll either stay there or go in motion right before the snap, and you don't know where he's going to go on a given play. So last time either. So it's.
Oh, we're kind of losing you there, Timmy. Oh, there we go. Cutting in and out a little bit. So Tim, if Tyreek doesn't play or he's limited, obviously those touches I believe are going to go to Achan. How are you feeling about his start next week? You think they're going to give him a lot more touches, get him between that 10 and 15, 10 and 17 range, you believe? I think he's warranted more touches. Do you think so?
So I have no reason to assume that the backfield in the game tonight. So running backs are part of a committee, and they don't get enough touches. So all next week, if Tyreek's not out there.
No, I think we're having some technical difficulties with Tim.
Some audio cutting in and out.
Yep. Yeah, but I think we got the gist of it with that. The backfields are crowded. Touches are going all over the place while Tim gets that situated. But
I mean, with Hill out here, do you think Achane got more touches in that time that he was out? It seemed like he kind of got his normal workload, and a lot of those other Mostert still had over 20 carries. A lot of those touches, there was more. What's his name? Cedric Wilson, and then just more Waddle. So he's kind of that speedier receiver. So Waddle can kind of pick up where Hill would leave off.
I think it was due to they already had a game plan in place. So depending on Hill's situation for this week, I believe that they'll scheme more plays for Achane. But we'll see. Right now they had obviously scripted, and they already knew Mostert was going to do the goal line work, which he did. Right, he got those 2 gifted touchdowns right within 5 yards. So that's where Mostert definitely gets his bump. But I believe they'll scheme up a couple more plays for Achane, like they did with that deep pass. They tried to connect with him on the deep out route in the start of the second half. So, Tim, we got you back now. You audio there?
I don't know. It switched the microphone to my AirPods for some reason, which I try not to do. Does it sound better now?
It sounds much better.
All right. Yeah, I don't know that I had it set for the microphone to be on the laptop, and somehow it switched. No idea. So, but yeah, I didn't. To me, it didn't seem like Achane got a lot more work when Hill got dinged up. So the deep shot to him, like Manny said, was kind of something new that I haven't really seen them try yet. But I would definitely like to see him get more carries. I mean, Mostert had at least double, if not triple, the amount of carries Achane had. So, but yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing necessarily. If Hill's out, if Achane gets more touches, that's still a net loss for sure.
Did Mostert leave the game for a few plays because it looked like he got knocked up a little bit? I saw him limping on the sideline of it. He came back in the game too.
I didn't notice him getting hurt.
That was early, like late in the first quarter. Where I was like, oh, he's.
I didn't see the very beginning, so I'm not sure if he did, but he still ended up getting at least 20 carries, I think.
Yeah, he had 21.
I mean, he looked fine to me.
Yeah.
So not that I want him to get hurt, but I would just it'd be nice if Achane got if it was more of an even split. So
we'll divvy up those carries. Speaking of Mostert, Ricky, has been riding on the hog, and I traded him to Ricky. We all know this earlier in the season. And
you did? Oh my gosh! Why would you do that?
I know, like I look like a dumbass now for sure. And Evans, even though Evans really played up a goose this week, but that was weird circumstances. He had a touchdown that he easily could have had, and he dropped, or he stepped out of bounds. Ricky's riding Mostert, and Ricky was in the bottom 4 for the first month of the season. He ended up in 6th place, Cody, I believe. Yep. So
yeah, looking at our standings, I think he started out in the bottom 4 for almost the first 2 months of the season. But he's been rolling. He's been the high scorer of the week the past 2 weeks in a row. So he's on a hot streak. His team's peaking at the right time. But now it looks like he's going to end up being the 6th seed. He's going to bump up from a lot of people thinking he was going to miss the playoff to being the 6th seed within the playoff bracket.
And he just narrowly avoided playing you in that first round of playoffs. Are you excited about not having to play Ricky, or
I wanted to play him, get the conversation over with, just let him know who the boss is. But I'm happy to be playing Tim. He's on the podcast with me. It gives us a little more content. So it just sets up a matchup later on with Ricky. Hopefully, if we both win, we'll end up playing each other in the semifinals. So the stakes will just be higher when we go at it.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, Ricky.
Yeah, I'll also look at the bracket when it comes out. Like, I don't know. I don't remember.
I can give it to you guys right now if you want.
Let's break down the playoff brackets for next week, Cody.
Cool.
Let's do that.
So looking at the standings, we have our 1 seed versus our 8 seed. So that's going to be Rob going up against Romo. And then so in that same side of the bracket, it's going to be the 4 seed and the 5 seed. So it's going to be Alex, who actually took over the 4 seed from Manny with Manny's loss this week. And Manny's going to be the 5 seed there. So Alex is going to get the home field advantage. And then the other side of the bracket, our 2-7 matchup is myself and Tim, as we kind of referenced earlier. And then below that is the 3 seed versus the 6 seed, which we have Javi versus Ricky, the brother matchup going at it. That's the one I'm most excited for. You want the loser bowl bracket right now?
Let's hold off a second. Let's digest
we'll
a little bit. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to take down 2 Benitez brothers to get to the final. All right.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. 2 Benitez brothers, and then possibly a podcast mate.
Wow, you're already just giving Romo a loss, huh? That sucks, man.
Rob's team's been unstoppable. I mean, how can you blame him?
Although he did lose the last 2, right? But not that he didn't put up respectable scores, but
yeah.
So,
and how much did he really need him? He was pretty locked in a couple weeks ago.
But I was surprised Saquon was the reason Javi won, because Saquon was gifted those touchdowns by the Packers by mistakes when it came to the special teams. So Saquon got those goal line touches that should have never happened. So Javi got that win, but Rob still put up 95 points. I mean, but he did get 18 points from Brandon Aubrey, which was pretty damn incredible.
Which is ridiculous. I mean, I as mentioned before, I didn't really watch that Packer-Giants game, but I did kind of pull up that matchup between Javi and Rob, and I look and was like, hey, Saquon's got 14 points, and then I look at his stat line, and it was 2 touchdowns, 18 yards. Like, what is going on in this game?
It was and then Saquon tried to gift it right back to the Packers, and they still blew it. So, I mean, that was one of the weirdest fumbles you'll let. No, I know they did, but they still blew it. They still lost, right? So, yeah, they scored too quick, like you said. But that was the weirdest fumble I've seen in a while. I'm sure you saw it. He just stumbled and tripped over, that the turf monster got him, and then he fumbled after he hit the ground, but he wasn't down by contact. So it's very odd.
I was shocked that the Packers player didn't touch him. The Packer player jumped out of the way to try to avoid him, because he knew the ball was going to come out. It was so weird. And then they picked it up and took it, 30 yards the other way. But yeah, the whole play was very strange. And I thought it was one of those situations where the runner gives himself up, right? Because he fell forward, but the ref immediately threw out that blue little thing that they have in their belt. And I was like, oh, they ruled it a fumble. Wow, that's crazy. So it was a very, very unique play. But yeah, Packers did get the ball. They did score. They took it down. The problem is that the 2-minute warning, they didn't run the clock. They scored way too fast, left a minute 33. And Tommy DeVito.
And they threw some incompletions too. So that was the other problem. They didn't burn any of the clock. So, but I always thought the ground couldn't cause a fumble.
If you have a chance to score, you got to try and score. I mean, you can't play games like that where you try and waste the clock, and then if all of a sudden it's 4th and goal, and then you end up not making the play, now you're having a completely different conversation. Whereas if your defense could stand up to freaking Tommy DeVito, you're not having this conversation.
Yeah, well, when you need a touchdown, that's a different story for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, some of them were kind of questionable.
Right. The 2-minute warning, they were at the 28-yard line. AJ Dillon surprisingly was running for 4 yards a clip. So I didn't understand why. It was shocking. I was like, oh, this guy's running great tonight. But I don't understand why they wouldn't run a couple run plays, get it 3rd and short, and then take some climb off the clock, at least get it under a minute. They were down there so quick because of those incompletions that you said, Tim. And I agree, Cody, when you need that touchdown, you go get it. But then the 2-point conversion call is terrible. And and then here's the worst part about it, right? So you got a minute 33 left on the clock, a minute 30 once the kickoff happened, and the Giants get it. What do the Packers do? They play prevent defense. Oh, I cannot stand when teams play prevent defense in the final 2 minutes. It makes no sense to me.
After chunk play.
Yeah, just why do you stop doing what was working? They
gave up two 12-yard
why do you change your game plan? Yeah,
it's so weird. I don't get it.
Yeah, so, but I mean, going back to that Saquon point, had that not happened and Javi lost that matchup to Rob, the playoff bracket would have been completely different because Alex actually would have been the 3rd seed, and so it would have been Javi versus Manny actually looking at the tiebreakers here. So it could have been you and Javi had Saquon not gone off and had that good game against your own Packers. So looking at those two teams, which team would you have rather played, since your matchup relied heavily on that?
Who are the Cowboys playing next week?
Buffalo.
Bills?
Great
Buffalo.
Question when you're talking about Javi's team.
That's right. I got to know who the Cowboys are playing. Yeah, I think I'm going to take my shot against Alex, as I'm 1-1 against him this season. I've proven that my team could already beat him. However, I'm dealing with bigger issues as, Tim's favorite quarterback is going to have surgery on throwing index finger this week. He's going to miss a Thursday night game. Justin Herbert, right, broke his index finger during the game on a really ridiculous play. The tackle looked not assuming at all, so I don't know why he broke his finger, but so I got to go scour the waiver wire for a diamond in the rough like Zach Wilson. He might just be. I got Joe Flacco out there. I got Gardner Minshew. Look at all the quarterbacks.
Baker, who really you got Baker as an option.
I got Baker. Look at all these amazing quarterbacks who lit it up. I mean, these names are just incredible names that I have to choose from this week. Tim, you really had the list boiled down as far as backup QBs. I mean, I got Sam Howell out there. I got Will Levis. I mean, all these ballers. I really have to pick a Tommy DeVito
options. Yeah. Oh, there you go. He doesn't get to play the Packers every week, though.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah. Who does Tommy DeVito have next week? Oh, the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. No, sorry, Tommy.
Ooh.
I mean, some of the quarterback scores this week are just wild. If you look at the highest scoring quarterbacks, you got some names that you would expect. Lamar Jackson was the tops, which it's not. That's kind of rare this week or this season. And then Jake Browning, this is in our league, of course, was second. Then you got Purdy, Stafford. Stafford hasn't had very many good games this year either. Flacco, Ritter, Justin Fields, Mitch Trubisky.
Wow.
Those are the top 7 or 8 right there.
Yeah.
Then you got Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, Bailey Zappi, Tommy DeVito.
That's right.
Will Levis.
Look at the names of these future stars for the NFL.
You gotta go through 15 quarterbacks just to get to Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts is down
Jared
there.
Goff, Tua. I mean, it's amazing how bad some of the quarterbacks were this week.
It's been a weird season.
We rely on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Unfortunately, Lamar Jackson rode the bench in our league this week, and he was
could have helped. So did Stafford.
Yep, so did Stafford. Both of those quarterbacks.
Jake Browning did. Oddly enough,
Cooper Kupp rode the bench too.
Yeah,
I understood Stafford, but didn't quite understand that. But I guess he still won, so I can't give him too much crap for it, but so
he likes his matchups close.
Andrew's had surprising couple wins here late in the season, so good for Andrew. I like it. He's putting fear in the hearts of the bottom 4 other members down there. Like they're not gonna know what to do against his team because I think he's been playing this house game, right? Like the dead possum. He's there. He's wounded. There's no way he can come back, and he's gonna spring up and give you rabies. So. Yeah. So Andrew's team's a little dangerous down the stretch here. A little dangerous. And we're all expecting Commanders D next week, right? We're all
I'm hoping so. He promised it to us.
After the bye week? Oh man.
I'm gonna be so I might actually be pissed if I don't see that Commander's defense in his lineup. So, but you know he's gonna do it. It's the Jets. I don't care what Zach Wilson did this week. He's gonna be the old Zach. It's gonna come right back down to earth next week, even if it's against a terrible Commander's defense. We all know it. So, but his team. I mean, you know, we got. I don't know if we're moving into the loser bowl section yet, but you got Carlos just lost CJ Stroud, who may not play next week because he got a concussion. That looked pretty bad.
Pretty severe one, right?
Suddenly, like Carlos probably had the strongest team, and I know he's got Goff as a backup, but he hasn't looked good lately at all. So I think, you know, Andrew might have, at this point in time, he might have the strongest team in the loser bowl. So you know, we'll see what happens. But
Cody, read off our matchups for the loser bowl. We have 2 matchups in that as the final 4 teams.
Yeah, with our 9 seed, we have Angel going against our bottom seed, which there was a tie at 4-10. It looks like in this league, we had a 4-10 tie off 3 ways. Andrew, unfortunately, with his barely reaching over 1,000 fantasy points on the year, is the loser of that tiebreaker. So he's going to play Angel in the first week. And then we have Carlos against Edgar. And in the loser bowl, normally in our regular bracket, you get a 2-point home field advantage seed, but the loser bowl does not have any home field advantage. So yeah, Carlos, Edgar, Angel, Andrew.
It's technically not the loser bowl yet. It's the consolidation ladder, right? The lower consolidation. So this is the first round.
Every game counts. I mean, I'm sure it feels to them like if you lose, it might be over. So you got to win and you're safe.
Right, exactly. So what will ESPN do? You know, because our loser consolidation bracket, it does 3 weeks just like our regular playoffs. However, our loser bowl is actually in the second week, because what will have to happen is ESPN, what it'll do, it'll take the 2 winners and it'll move them over to play the loser of the other game, and it'll kind of switch them around. So what we'll have to do is I'll manually augment the 2 teams that lose in that first round of that loser consolidation bracket. I'll have to move to play together in the loser bowl, and the 2 winners that will play each other. And so that season actually ends 1 week early. And our playoffs go 1 more week beyond that in the winner bracket. So
that's right. And what are they playing for, Manny?
Oh my goodness!
Wasn't there some controversy with that last year? By the way,
I
forget exactly what happened, but you know
Manny wasn't able to manually augment the matchups, and so we forgot, and then just saw the matchups and went based on that.
And Hobby had to correct. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Hobby was so close to that.
Carlos fixed it to me because we had a big. What happened was I was traveling, something was going on, and I had forgot to do that manual adjustment. I thought I did, and it didn't save. So what happened was the ESPN did the bracketing itself, and you know I manually changed that before the games happened. I missed the window, and so yeah, what was messed up about it was we should have talked about it before it happened, but we didn't. Carlos
no one caught it.
Carlos pulled a fast one. Carlos knew the whole thing was going down. Rob thought he had won, and Rob thought he was. Rob believed that he was safe and no issues, and then Carlos was like, "Bam!" He hit him with the gauntlet. He's like, no way. This is how it should have been laid out. And by you not having a 2-point bump and you being in this position and with this many points, you actually should have lost. So you should have been in the loser bracket, and you should have lost or been in the loser bowl, and then you should have lost the loser bowl. So everything went to hell. We had people yelling at each other, and then I had to confirm, yeah, Carlos was right. That's why I have him as co-commissioner, because he keeps tabs on that kind of stuff. But yeah,
a couple people left the league.
Yeah,
it was a
disaster, ultimate disaster. But we'll make sure that doesn't happen this year. We're all over it, and we can't afford those type of things. Although they are funny when they happen. Rule 16 was also controversy last year.
The greatest rule ever made. That was 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
2 years ago. Yep. So we've had some back
to championship.
Yeah, I hope we have no controversial issues this year heading into the playoffs. I don't believe so. I think it's been pretty clear cut so far. Just got to make sure I do my part as commission to make sure those alignments are done post this week. Yes, post Monday Night Football of next week. That I make sure that the two people who lose go into that loser bowl, and play. I'm gonna have everybody validated.
And what does the loser end up having to do, Manny?
Woo. All right. Well, between the four of them, Angel, Carlos, Andrew, and Edgar, as the years have gone on, the punishments have progressively got worse. So it started as fun. Oh, you're going to host a barbecue for everybody and carne asada. And for a handful of years, it went on this way, right? We're almost approaching 20 years of the league. It's been great. But it was very nonchalant, very casual. Everybody's happy to play, having fun. I got paying extra bucks for $100 for barbecue. No big deal. And we used to play for under $100. It used to be like $80, $90 or $75 for the season. No big deal. Now our league fees are over $160 plus all the additional money we pay for our free agency acquisitions that we. Yep, when someone spends $99 on a backup running back, that all counts as real money. So,
who would do such a thing?
I don't know.
He'll come in to save the day next week for you.
Maybe.
But these are all variables that have kind of changed the face of the league. But as the years gone on, we had that barbecue situation, and then someone had a wild hair up their ass and decided, oh, we should have a trophy for the loser. Because our first iteration of our winner's trophy, it was okay. It wasn't great. Our new one is a great football and has a plaque, and it looks a lot better. But our loser, we didn't really have anything for loser bowl.
And it's kind of Stanley Cup style where the winners are all on there permanently, or at least for,
Yep, that's right. Along the side in there, stamped with a little, what do you call those?
Names and years.
Name plate, and year, exactly. But in the loser bowl, we never had anything. And so one year at the draft, Carlos showed up with this trophy. And the trophy was a toilet, a golden toilet, bronzed. And then next to it was a human, a male, how do I say it?
Sexual organ?
A phallic symbol.
A phallic symbol. Thank you, Tim. A phallic symbol. Like what the Rams logo is, the phallic symbol. On the nose of the Rams logo. Yes, phallic symbol. So it's sticking up next to the toilet. And we'll show an image of it on the cast here. I'll have it up behind me. Not too close, though. But so that came out, and everybody was like, oh, wow, that's a great idea. But then rules started to stipulate, oh, well, you have to display it all year long in your home. And some people still live with their parents at the time when the sleep was going. So it started really to take shape. And so I was like, oh, now I got this barbecue, and then I got this loser bowl penalty. And actually, people were getting so mad about the loser bowl, like they were intentionally breaking the trophy every year. Then this was pre you guys joining the league. So Carlos would just come back with a new one for the next year.
My guy.
Yeah. So he was like, yeah, oh, well, you lost it? Oh, okay, don't worry, I'll fix that. And then sure enough, it'd be right back next year. And it looks like something you find at the dollar store. But it's been going pretty strong now, the loser bowl trophy. However, what we've included now with this situation is new to the punishment to the league is two new caveats. One that pertains directly to the loser trophy, and one that is a new addition to something else that people own. I'll talk about the second one. The second one is a license plate cover now that the loser will have to put on their car. And it'll be a very, very inclusive license plate that'll state fantasy football loser for the year that it'll be, and we're all going to chip in to get it. And this person needs to keep it on their car, front or back, doesn't matter, for the end of the season to the start of the next draft of the next season. That's the timeline it must stay on. If someone catches you, you will be fined financially without it. So it's got to stay on the car. It's going to look really cute on some people's cars, really, really cute. So we're looking forward to that. The second part of this is the loser trophy that I spoke about before. This wonderful, dollar store monstrosity. Now the loser will have to take a picture with the trophy with the male. What did you call it? Phallic symbol, Tim. The phallic symbol. And
it's the PC way to put it.
Yeah. I want to make sure it's a kid show. The phallic symbol will have to be posed with your lips on it, and it's going to be quite a scene when the league members get to take a picture of that moment of you kissing the phallic symbol. And all I can say is I'm glad we're not year one experiment for it. I'm glad that Angel, Carlos, Andrew, and Edgar are battling out for that prestigious award. Tim, I know you were having some large stresses down the stretch here, but how do you feel about you eking into the playoffs and avoiding this punishment round?
Yeah, I'm just glad that I did the bare minimum to get into the playoffs. I guess not, I'm seventh, so I'm not at the bottom, but I might as well be. My team kind of limped in, but I did enough. I got a passing grade. I got a C-, just enough to graduate, and
C's get
don't have to worry
too,
about don't have to worry about kissing a phallic symbol. And I wouldn't be too worried about the license plate thing, since who's going to catch me? Who's going to come out to Colorado to see if I got that on my car? But definitely don't want to kiss the trophy. So. And then I think you forgot to mention the plan is to eventually make a calendar of all those photos, right? Once we got 12 of them.
So once there's
don't want to be
years,
in that either.
Yeah, don't want to be in the calendar, but high probability. That's not till 2042, right? We talked about that, Cody. 2042.
Well,
35 at this point.
I was 35. Okay.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
36.
So 2035. Yeah. But we'll have a calendar of 12, it'll be a January through December, and every loser every year who's got a wonderful picture, and it'll be a great calendar, and we'll have that for sale for listeners. And, but hopefully it inspires you to come up with great punishments for your league. It's definitely developed into more of, enjoyment for the rest of the members. Very much. We're gonna lose people because of this. I'm already resigned to that fact, but hey, it fantasy football, and I've seen some other punishments online that have been much, much worse. We're not forcing a tattoo, or things like that. But Cody, how do you feel?
Stand out on the corner with the dress, with the sign that says "I suck at fantasy football" or whatever
for a couple hours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Cody, you have been in a league where that situation transpired, right?
Yeah, there was a league, or I guess I'm still a part of, where the loser would have to do their own 12-month calendar shoot, and then first place through fourth place got a certain amount of months divvied up on what they got to choose and dress them as and take photos, and the loser had to pay for the calendar to give to everyone else in the league. And so there was one where they went into downtown LA in a dress with the fantasy football, "I suck at fantasy football" sign, and had to take pictures in public. There's been bikini shots. There's been all sorts of things that have gone on that calendar. There's been different items bought and that they've had to kind of pose with. And so it's a little more extreme than this league. There were many people who have since left that league, and so that punishment has faded into the past. I luckily have never had to deal with that punishment. I wish it would come back because it was fun. It was a good time. But yeah, nothing as bad as this league. But this league's a little more financially burdening when you end up in last place, more so than the other. Yeah, you're trading financials for public humiliation and embarrassment. Is there someone out of these four that you guys want to see, or you would enjoy seeing the most getting this last place trophy? We have Angel, Edgar, Carlos, and Andrew.
What a question.
So Andrew's the first timer in the league. Angel and Carlos go back, I'm assuming, to the very beginning, year one with Manny. And then Edgar, did Edgar join at the same time as Tim and I, 2016, or did he join after?
You think he was right with same with you around you guys' time as well. Yeah.
Okay, so he's been around about as long as we have, and Andrew's the newcomer, the rookie.
Yeah. Well, I would love to see my cousin, inaugural season really take the punishment. I think he's learned a lot from this league, and I'd hate to see him have to endure that. So I'm going to pull him off the table.
Wow.
So Edgar, while it would be enjoyable because he won last season, and it annoyed me greatly that he did. He would be a candidate, but I'm going to actually move him off the table. So that leaves my two oldest companions. Yes, two guys who have been in the league with me since day one.
Surprise,
Angel
surprise.
Surprise. I don't think it couldn't happen to a more better guy than Angel. I think
wow.
Angel, and it only because of the fact I called this, right? Didn't I call it? I said Angel's team sucks. Like Angel's team was not good. And I saw it early on, and I told him, and it goes back to the discussion we've had this week about him pulling that BS move, benching players that shouldn't have never done it. And I said, just play the game. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy that's going to sit a bunch of people just because you're going for W's. No, get the points. Play the game. You never know what's going to happen. You never know who's going to blow up. You never know who's going to, you're going to have a kicker and a quarterback get you -3 on a week. Oh, well, you got to play the game and play it the right way. So I was a little perturbed by that. And I think it would be a great karma for him to have to endure that punishment just so it'll never happen again. Carlos just bought a new house, so I definitely don't want him to have any more burden. I've gone through that pain of buying a house. He's got to get new electrical, new everything. That man's paid his dues.
What a good friend.
Angel needs to pay up still for his transgressions this season. And
it's quite the fall. I believe he was 4-0 or maybe 5-0 before he played Rob and started his losing streak. So after that first month of the season, he must have been feeling so safe and not even thinking about being in this position.
It's one of the all-time skids I've seen ever in this league. To go from a top 4 to a bottom 4, pretty wild. Because you got to basically. He only had one more win after that, or 2 more wins. So
after that, one, just one. So we went like 1-7 down the stretch in the last 8 weeks.
Woo.
Tim, you're a nice guy. Probably too nice to answer the question, but we're gonna put it to you anyway. Out of the 4, who are you hoping ends up kissing that trophy?
So, like, I don't know Andrew well enough yet. It's his first year in the league. I can't,
That's enough of a reason right there for some.
Maybe it should be, but I think I'd rather him not have such a harsh punishment in his first year in the league and be discouraged to come back next year. I already mentioned I think his team looks the best out of the 4 in the loser bracket so far, and then since I've been in the league, Edgar has already come in last. Carlos already came in last. So I'm sorry, Angel. I know it's punishment enough that you only won one game, but I just I like Angel, and I think he'll not have a good time with it, but he just he's happy-go-lucky. He's kind of a happy-go-lucky guy. I think he won't take it too harshly, and he'll learn his lesson. I feel bad about the way his season's gone. I mean, he really had some bad luck. I think was it this week or last week? I pointed out he had 5 players get injured in game, which is just insane. Like, to have 2 is bad luck. To have 3 is terrible luck. To have 5 is just something I've never seen before. So sorry, Angel. It was a rough season for you, but I want to see the license plate frame on the big rig. Is that where it's going to go?
By the way, got it, Tim. I hope so. I want to suggest that if it is Angel, you got to put it on the 18-wheeler because that is his name in the
primary vehicle, right?
That's right.
I mean, he spends more time there than any other vehicle, I'm sure. So
yeah.
I want to see it on the front of that Peterbilt 18-wheeler and driving across country, and I want to I want to pull up and be like, like, let's go. Yes. All right. I love it. See, Tim and I are on the same wavelength. I want to see it on the 18-wheeler. He'll have fun with it. Yeah, you're right, Tim. He'll have a wonderful time with the trophy. You're right. He's going to really enjoy it. Cody, what about you? Same question to you. Out of those four.
Out of those four, looking at it, Carlos, I would have to kind of remove immediately. He does a lot for the league. He's the guy who gets the name plaques for the championship trophy. So I want to keep a good relationship with him, keep that process moving smoothly. So I'm definitely not picking Carlos. Andrew, it is his first time in the league. I do kind of would like a first timer to be last place to show people how hard it is. Tim and I, when we joined, I think we both had a top 4 finish. And then the following year played each other in the finals. When we were newcomers to this league. So it would just show how hard it is and how great we are at this game. But that is a good point. There is someone else I got my eye on. I see Angel over here, but he's my man crush. I can't do it to him. I have a personal vendetta with Edgar. Edgar is not good at fantasy football. I'm going to say it now. He had one good random year last year when he took my title away from me, 13-1 in the regular season, and he gets CMC traded to the 49ers, which is the team I love, so it hurt even more. Goes on this crazy run through the playoffs, meets me in the finals, picks up Tom Brady, who gets him 45 points, and beats me in the finals and takes my back-to-back title away from me. I want him to drop down. I want him to be the first to kiss the trophy. He could be January in the calendar. I might never flip it away from January. It might be January all year for me once I get that calendar. I'm hoping Edgar is the one who gets last place here. He's disappeared from the group chat. Last year, he was so talkative when he was on his win streak. I barely see him type in the group chat anymore now that he's at the bottom again. I have a personal vendetta for taking that back-to-back title. Had I won this year, maybe I could have renamed the trophy. That's a rule if we get 3 in a row. But lofty expectations. And forever I'll hold that vendetta against him.
I could make the same argument for you. You did the same to me. You took away a championship from me. Although, I mean, isn't it amazing? Like, you probably remember every detail of the one you lost, and the ones that you won is probably not. You probably don't remember every single move that led
Rule
up to
16 is pretty memorable.
Well, that one was.
Yeah, 16
sure,
memorable.
Your point is well understood.
But no, it's all good. I mean, at least you've done it 3 times. I think he was pretty lucky, especially with the McCaffrey trade. I mean, otherwise he would have wasted away in Carolina for another season. So. Yeah, and that Tom Brady fluke game. So I didn't remember all of those details, but I hear you. I get it.
No, you remember. I remember
when you're on the other end of it, you remember. Yeah.
I remember exactly where I was when I lost the last championship to Hobby. I was on a bus coming back from Chichen Itza, looking at my fantasy team. I felt great during that one, but I had to pick up Ben Roethlisberger for the final because I had some quarterback situations, and it was like second last year for Ben Roethlisberger fell off the wagon. But the Steelers were playing great, and him and Deontay Johnson, they were just looking good. But of course, that one game, Ben Roethlisberger laid an egg and just destroyed me, and it was like crushing to lose to Hobby because my quarterback put up less than 10 points, and I was like,
dusting off the history books to tell us about the last time he was in the finals. Whew.
That
was before mine and Tim's time in this league.
I'm trying to rack my brain. Like, I don't. I'm sorry, I just don't remember you.
That was before our time championship.
That was before you guys. Yeah. It was.
I feel like Ben was. Ben Roethlisberger was. When did he retire? Was it like 4 years ago or
3 or 4?
Right before COVID, right? I think before.
So about.
Yeah.
So it was the 2013, 2014 season, one of those when the last final I was in.
I feel like that's when he was still playing pretty well, but
he was. That's why I picked him up for that final. He was playing very well. And
you can't blame him for the move.
That's why I picked him up in that final game. I outsmarted myself and ended up getting kicked in the nuts.
Well, did you have? Did you lose a quarterback that year too? Like you have last 2 years?
Like the last 2 years, yeah. It's been a constant playoff situation of mine. That's why I'm just gonna stream it from here on out. I'm tired of
No.
I'm just gonna string the position.
You don't want to do that. No, trust me. Just draft a good one. Draft a good one. Don't draft Justin Fields.
Don't draft Josh Allen. It's mine.
Well,
yeah,
no, draft Josh Allen.
Yeah, even Mahomes. Even there's quarterbacks out there who consistently been okay all season long.
Or be like Ricky and listen to someone like me who suggests picking up Brock Purdy after week 1 or 2, whenever that was, and ride him all the way to the playoffs.
Good thing he listens. Yep.
Yeah.
So speaking of, you're talking about the winners bracket, besides yourself, is there someone out of the 8 winners that you would be okay seeing hold the trophy?
Well, if I go back
we
to
have Rob Romo. Yeah, Rob Romo is our 1-8. Same side of the bracket is Alex and Manny. And then we have myself and Tim on the other side of the bracket, and then Javi and Ricky.
Well, let's do this. Let's pick the winners of each game.
Oh, okay. A little prediction time. I like it.
Yeah. A little prediction time. Let's start with that 1-8 matchup. Rob
and Romo. Now, don't forget, I believe 2 of the last 3 years, if I remember correctly, an 8 seed had actually gone on to win the title.
That's right.
So you got to give Romo a little bit of a chance because he was one of those 8 seeds who went and won. I think when he won 3 years ago, he was the 8 seed.
Yes.
In the regular season.
And you did that last year, correct?
No, last year I lost it. It was 3 years ago, I believe, or 2 years ago.
2 years ago you did. Yeah, that's correct. Right. So.
And then I think Romo, when he was the 8 seed, beat Manny, who was the 1 seed going into that first week.
That is correct. That was the 1 seed.
So Romo's been in this position before, so you can't count him out, even though Rob's team's been great.
Yep, Romo has that low seed experience, and actually, when you look at Romo's team, Fields, who played outstanding against Detroit, but their defense has fallen off a wagon lately. But I know Tim, we just talked about Justin Fields letting you down, but big game this week. Now he goes up against Cleveland at Cleveland next week. I don't think he's going to put up 21. That's going to be a much tougher game. Cleveland's defense is very stout, especially at home, and the weather conditions will be probably pretty severe. So I don't see Fields putting up a big number. But you look at his running backs again. We've talked about Breece Hall and Javonte Williams and Travis Etienne. We talked about him having probably the best core running back group in the league with those 3. And as far as the threesome, the 3 running backs, he starts 3 running backs. Who else starts 3 running backs in the league?
I do. I had Zeke / Ramondre going on with Gibbs and then also Kyron. I mean, don't underrate Kyron. He's a 20-point monster every game, man.
I'm not underrating Kyron, but those Patriots running backs,
Gibbs? Come on.
Gibbs is starting to pick it up. But
has been.
Yeah.
I thought I would be starting 3 running backs, but then, Walker got hurt. So, and the other 2, Achane and Mitchell they're not workhorses like Kyron. So, but yeah.
But he does have, that doesn't take away from your point. He does have top 3 running back core in the league, I would say.
Yeah. So, and
this you're always dangerous if you have that.
Yeah, combined they put over almost 40 points between 3 of them this week. So that's a big number right there, right? So that 40 points plus Justin Fields 40 points, he had a big week there. And he only got 2 points from Jamar Chase this week, which is pretty surprising considering Jake Browning looked amazing, especially his last 2 starts. So
he has Addison with Justin Jefferson's status up in the air.
Yep. So
Rob has Jefferson.
Yeah, so that could be a big key point.
Big swing there, definitely not counting Romo out.
Yeah, I mean, looking at their matchups, Romo definitely has some of the tougher matchups. He does have Lawrence, who, I don't want to sway him at all, but I would think he starts Lawrence over Fields.
Both Lawrence have tough defensive matchups, though.
Yeah, they're both not easy. But Stafford just lit up Baltimore, so Lawrence going against Baltimore maybe is not as scary. But and then obviously Etienne's against Baltimore as well, which is not a great running back matchup either. Although Kyron Williams did pretty well against him last week as well. So anything can happen. It looks like, on paper, Rob's players have more favorable matchups. He's got, the Hurts and Brown stack at Seattle. Not a great pass defense, but they haven't looked
by Debo. Yeah,
but Philly hasn't looked great the last few weeks, really last month for the most part. So
they've had also Kelsey with the best tight end, in the league. That's always going to give him points.
Yeah,
and he's at New England. Who knows what the weather might be like? That's another thing you got to look at. And New England notoriously takes away teams, no matter who they got playing defense, no matter how bad they are, they seem to still be able to take away the other team's best player. So
yeah,
we'll see if that happens. But it's hard to really give one team a major edge. Obviously, Rob's got the extra 2 points, and
yeah, I think I would still give it to Rob with Hurts and AJ Brown going against Seattle's pass defense. They've gotten kind of shredded by Dallas and San Francisco back-to-back weeks, and the Eagles are going to be mad coming off back-to-back losses. I think Hurts and AJ Brown kind of go off this game and really maybe put up 50 points between the two of them like they were in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
So
that'll probably be the difference for him.
Rob's carrying 3 defenses: Steelers versus Buffalo, Indianapolis next week, Eagles versus Seahawks, Jets versus Miami. Which one of those does he start?
Probably the Steelers against the Colts is the best matchup out of those 3, I would assume. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, I saw he did that, in the last couple of weeks, and obviously getting ready for the playoffs, and that's what I would assume. Although, I think TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith might be out for the Steelers. So
problematic.
I mean, if TJ Watt's out, I think you still probably go with the Steelers over the others, but
they did last play on Thursday, so it gives them about 3-4 extra days rest, which could help in their favor.
Yeah. But
the Gardner Minshew can shred that Steelers defense.
He's capable of it. Going to Pittman. He also has Pierce, who's been coming on lately as well. No Jonathan Taylor, though. Yeah, you got Downs there. He's a big possession guy. But no Jonathan Taylor. Zach Moss hasn't looked like the same guy he was the first 4 or 5 weeks of the year.
Yeah.
I just don't see how you trust the Eagles defense at this point, really, against anybody. And the Jets at Miami. I think you got to go Steelers, but just maybe lower the expectations a little bit, especially if Watt's out. So
the only reason I like Seahawks defense, and I mean, I would still start the Steelers, but if I was in a pinch and I heard Watt was out and Highsmith was out, I'd be like, okay, the Eagles defense still can cause turnovers and get touchdowns like they did against Dallas. They still have that ability, right?
Yeah.
So
especially if Geno's out another week in a row and it's Drew Lock.
Yeah, exactly.
Be a good option.
Yeah, that's true. If I don't know what Geno's status is, if he's going to miss another game, that definitely helps if he's out. But looking at the matchup, I would favor Rob. I'm giving my prediction to Rob. I love Romo. I brought him into the league. He's a champ. But I think Rob's team's just too good right now, and I like his matchups more than Romo's as well. I would give it to Rob, and I think it'll be at least a 10-point win.
A 10-pointer. Ooh. Rob by 4 points.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think it'll be closer than people think, but Rob will get a win.
For me, it's down to Jefferson. That can swing things a lot. If Jefferson's out, more targets for Addison. Who knows who's throwing it to him? Probably Nick Mullins this week. But if Jefferson's in, that's that's going to swing points towards Rob. So
yeah. So if Rob doesn't have Jefferson to go, he's got Gabe Davis or Adam Thielen. Who does he start? Gabe Davis against KC, Adam Thielen versus New England. Or
Gabe Davis against Dallas, and then Thielen's playing Atlanta.
Yeah. No, playing New Orleans.
No, I have Thielen versus Atlanta. They just played New Orleans. That's this week you're looking at.
Oh, I apologize. You're right. All right.
Yeah.
Gabe Davis
against Dallas.
Yeah.
I might. Gabe Davis has been doing this weird every other game thing. Well, he'll get 0 points and then 20 and then 0 and then 30. He had 0 last week. You kind of got to play him and hope he gets that 20 or 30 again. At Dallas's defense, they like to cheat. They like to be aggressive, so they could be beat over the top. So I would go Gabe Davis, especially if Thielen's your other choice. I mean, come on, let's have some fun here.
So much more. I mean, Gabe Davis could have 0 or he could have 20.
Thielen could have 0 or he could have 5.
Yeah, I mean, Thielen had a few good games in the first half of the year, but he's just not done anything. And their first game was against Atlanta, which, I don't think he was too involved yet in the offense necessarily at that point, but he had 2 catches for 12 yards. And, I mean, just the last several weeks, single-digit points every week. So, the Bills and Cowboys game has the potential to be a shootout. So you got to go with the guy in that game. Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm looking definitely for that Yosemite Sam type shootout for sure. That's,
so it sounds like you're leaning Rob as well, Tim, if Jefferson plays. And then if not, are you calling the upset? If Jefferson's out, are you saying Romo takes it?
I mean, I wouldn't go that far. I just wouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's an easier win for Rob if Jefferson plays, and if he's out, then it's going to be it'll be a little bit closer. But just based on the matchups alone, it looks like Rob has the edge.
There we go. So next matchup on that same side of the bracket, we have Alex and Manny. Who do you guys got? That's our 4-5 matchup. Alex, being the 4 seed, is going to get the +2 home field advantage, so he's already leading 2-0 going into the week. Let's start with Manny. How do you see this one playing out? We already discussed your Herbert issue, so you're missing Herbert, it looks like, for the week.
Yeah. Yikes. I can sum it up in one word. I'm actually happy with the production actually getting from when I look at my team. Pollard had a little bit of a down game under 10 points fantasy, but Joe Mixon and Garrett Wilson look great. Stephon only put up a 2-point dud, so that kind of hurts. Missed a big touchdown from Brandon Cooks in that Dallas game. My bench though was pretty nice. Rashee Rice had a touchdown. The Browns defense looked good. Singletary again looked great, and then Chase Brown. I picked him up last week after what I saw in that Monday night game last week after Jake Browning had his first blow-up game, and I was impressed with the juice I saw from him. And so I picked him up this week, and I was like, so I might be starting 2 Bengal running backs.
Ooh, that'll be it. You missed a guy, though. Don't forget your $99 man. You didn't mention
my $99 man. I didn't mention
Charbonnet.
Zach Charbonnet.
The guy you saw had more juice than Walker.
Yeah, going up against that Philly defense, we'll see. Unlikely. That's more of a when I get past Rob type of situation and bring him out for week 16. But yeah, I definitely not great matchups for me. Obviously, what I needed as a quarterback, right? So I'm gonna be scouring that waiver wire, and I'm sure Rob's gonna try to block me. He knows that I'm gonna be in that situation, so I'm gonna have to pull the old rope-a-dope with when I target Zach Wilson and see if he tries to pay up for him instead, and then I'll have to pick up someone else. But I have a treasure trove of quarterbacks I could go through. The Bailey Zappies, the Gardner Minshew's of the world. So really looking forward to this weekend. I expect to put up 80, high 80s, 87 to 88. I don't think that's going to get it done, though.
Okay, so you're picking Alex.
I'm picking Alex to get that W, as his team seems like they have more favorable matchups. I really haven't deep dived into it.
All you need to know is McCaffrey's playing Arizona. Last time they went at it, he put up over 40. He had 3 rushing touchdowns, over 100 yards rushing. It was, dear God, pray for the Cardinals because McCaffrey's coming to town again.
Well, it's been a great season, guys, and I hope you guys had fun. And so that's
at
where
least
we're at right now.
You avoided the bottom 4, Manny. It's been a good year.
Patrick Mahomes
I too have Alex in this prediction. I'm going to take Alex in this one.
Sorry, Manny. Yeah, I mean, once Herbert got injured, that's if you pick the perfect waiver wire quarterback this week, which who knows who that might be based on what we saw this week, then maybe. He does have, Mahomes is at New England, so
I was gonna say, can we look at the matchups and say there is New England and then he had Jalen Waddle against the Jets, who are very stingy, and there are some tough ones there. And Sam Laporta against
limited,
Denver.
Well, he could just bench Laporta and play Hawkinson against Carolina.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if Pacheco's going to come back, but Swift and McCaffrey have, good on paper matchups. So, it's not looking great. But Alex has had some bad luck this year as well. So
karma is on your side, Manny, in this matchup.
Maybe his team lays an egg.
Team. Yeah.
Anything can happen.
I don't want to see Christian go down. I like seeing good players play, but I wouldn't mind if maybe he tweaks like a little ankle or knee or something, and then they keep him out just for precaution. And
McCaffrey could have 30 points, but if the rest of his team lays an egg, and he could still have a bad week. So
he could still end up in the low 80s.
Oh yeah, that would be. I would hope
this
for a
past
close
week he put up
72.
He only put up 72 this past week, so there's hope for you.
There's hope. I like that. I like that optimism. Yeah, but looking at Alex, his team definitely has much better advantage over me right now. But we'll see. That's
why we always play it out.
That's why I always play it out.
That's why you play the game.
That's why you play the game, Angel. Angel.
All right.
There we go. So it looks like a clean sweep in terms of the predictions for Alex. Going to the other side of the bracket, looking at our 2-7 matchup, we have myself versus my fellow podcaster here, Mile High Timmy. Manny, you're a neutral site here. Who do you have? Go ahead and lead it off here between the two.
Tim, good job on the C-, but you're not going to get into the prestigious college, but it's
wow.
Yeah,
I'll go to community college.
That's right. Already.
We'll go to the community college route and transfer. That's right. We'll regroup and get it going.
It's all good. I get it. I mean, I'm just looking at some of Cody's matchups now too, and it's like so much green. Oh man, Kyron Williams against Washington and Jahmyr Gibbs against Denver. Ooh.
Denver's defense has played better lately. It's still skewed by that one H-hand game.
But they're better against the pass than they are the run.
Okay. I like to hear that.
Yeah.
And Williams has pretty much produced against, they played, defenses kind of all over the place. Obviously, he shredded Arizona, but, played pretty well against Cleveland and Baltimore the last couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. And so it's... and even San Francisco earlier in the year. So I think he's pretty much matchup proof. He gets so much volume. And then I don't know the status of Hill. We went over that. I don't have any real obvious advantage if Hill is out. That's the one area, the one player I have that's, gives me an advantage over anyone else. So other than that, yeah, it's been a good run. We'll see where I finish up at the end of the year. I'm just glad I'm not in the bottom 4. So,
yeah, I think the running back matchups are definitely a big plus for Cody. Where he gets the big edge, obviously, is the guy who's been the number 1 fantasy player in the season, Josh Allen.
He's going against a team that can turn him over, and so that could go pretty poorly for him.
But still,
that's a quarterback.
That's all I can hope for. But
he can throw 3
I think
picks.
The shootout's more likely.
Yeah, he can throw 3 picks, get -6. He gets sacked a couple times, get -8, but he's still going to put up 30 points because they're going to throw the ball all over the yard. I mean, that's, they're not going to run the ball against Dallas. They're going to throw. I mean,
with the new OC, they are running it a lot more with James Cook.
They're throwing it to him.
They're throwing it too.
They're throwing it to him. So what I was surprised about, if we talk about that Buffalo Kansas City game, was the amount of passes Cook got out of the backfield, because we expected that early on in the season. It didn't happen. Now we're seeing it late. And Cook, when he gets the ball in space, he's almost hard. He's so hard to tackle. So a little unstoppable there. I mean, he caught 2 deep balls, right? I mean, when he did up the seam and caught those balls, so it was pretty impressive stuff. But yeah, I think Bills are going to rely on that passing game because they know Dallas defense is just really, really good, but Dallas offense has been incredible. And I could see this being a 35, 30, 37 type of game, 37, 35 score. So, yeah, light it up. So that's where Tim's going to have a tough time overcoming that.
I don't know. I feel like you guys are discounting Tim's team way too early looking at these matchups. He's got, I mean, Russell Wilson, like in the beginning of the year was a joke, but look at what he's done lately. He's been putting up decent games, and he's going against Detroit's defense, who against the pass, everyone's been letting. Jordan Love looked great against them. Justin Fields this week. And if he doesn't like that matchup, he's got Geno against Philly. We've seen Philly's pass defense these past 3 weeks just get shredded through the air. Tim's got two good choices there. Achane, if Hill plays, of course, Hill can go off and have a 20-point game there. Yeah. No one can keep up with him. And as we've seen with Achane, it just takes one crease in that line, and then boom, 50 yards later, that's like a 12-point play right there. So it's still volatile. It's still scary. I think you guys are writing Tim's team off a little bit too early.
No. It's definitely not a home run that you're going to win, but just your matchups are more favorable. And, you know, when you're relying on Russell Wilson at times, and it's kind of like, you know, and I would give him way more of a, yeah, Tim's 100% got a chance to beat you if I knew status to Tyreek. We don't know. We can find out tomorrow that Tyreek has a small tear in his knee or something, or so it swells up and then he's jacked up, right? I mean, but if he's good to go, that makes things different. But like Tim said, he didn't play the end of the game. He missed a lot of the game. That's 20% of Tim's production right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, you know, I don't know what's up with Kincaid. He didn't do much this week with Dawson Knox coming back, and he's questionable right now. He's got some kind of injury, shoulder injury. So
he was out there, and he was out there quite a bit. I think his snap count was really high, had a decent amount of targets. It just wasn't as much down the field as it has been in the past. A lot more underneath stuff that week.
So I picked up Waller in case he comes back, in case something went down south with Kincaid with Knox coming back. But all I can hope is that Kincaid's in there and he catches all of Allen's passes, you know, somehow, or the majority of them. That would help. And then, you know, just hoping that the good version of the Chiefs defense shows up in New England and gets me a good amount of points. That will definitely help. But overall, like I said, not very confident, but I do know anything can happen. You know, sometimes, you know, it looks like a team is going to dominate in the playoffs, and then it just goes south. So
goes sideways quick. Yeah. You know, Russ can definitely have a 16, 17 point game against Detroit. Their defense has been pretty bad lately. So
yeah.
I picked up Geno though with the intention of starting him. That would be my that'd be my preference next week if he hadn't gotten hurt. So I don't know who I'm going to end up starting there, but.
Well, I think he had gotten hurt 2 weeks ago and played through it the following week, and then they gave him kind of like a week of rest this week because it was flaring up a bit. So it's not like a fresh, anything kind of happened.
What is it, a groin or what?
I think it's like forearm strain or something with his elbow.
Oh. Nothing to do with his legs. I mean, yeah, come on, man. He can get out there.
Well, he's the quarterback. They do need to throw.
I mean, they're both decent matchups, but after, you know, I think Geno's got more upside with better wide receivers, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Well, I don't know. Cortland Sutton's been a beast lately. I mean, my goodness.
Cortland Sutton touchdown.
that one-handed touchdown he had this week was pretty nice, even though it was against my team. But
but the last 3 weeks, Sutton has been pretty excellent. I mean, he scored in the last 3 weeks. He's been catching a lot of balls. So,
but he's the only one.
Andrew's team. Yeah. So okay, so it sounds like we're kind of in consensus. I think I might end up winning, maybe just by the home field advantage. I think this one's going to be a really close one. Nico Collins is hurt, and my receiving core already is pretty weak, and so losing a guy like him, if he doesn't play, he's kind of my Tyreek Hill. So if he doesn't play, I'm going to be in real trouble, kind of digging through the waiver wire to look for a replacement. So I don't feel great. I'm going to need Josh Allen to take me to the promised land again, and hoping for another 35, 40 point game from him to really, really kind of put things away. But so I think it'll be really tight. I think it'll be a 2-3 point, hopefully victory for me. I want to pick Tim, but I just can't do it.
No, you don't. Don't lie. You want to pick me next week, but maybe not this week. Yeah,
I mean, not.
It's all good.
I'm gonna put a 68%, 32%. That's my ratio right now. How I have it.
Okay, Manny crunched the numbers.
Yeah, I gave Tim almost a 1/3 chance to win. That's it.
I would have gone 69-31. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
but yeah,
I left that open for you. Close. See, there you go.
There we go. Yeah. So then that brings us to my favorite matchup of the week. Winners bracket, losers bracket, doesn't matter. Favorite matchup, Gonzalez brothers going at it on this side of the bracket. We got Javi, who is our 3 seed, going against Ricky, the 6 seed. Yeah, Tim, what do you see here between the two of them, Javi and Ricky?
I mean,
Team Cowboys going against Team 49ers.
It's so hard to call. It's, you know,
I wish the teams were playing each other. Imagine what that would look like. Oh, it would be so good.
That'd be great.
A couple months ago, it's like, you know, this would have been wild to even think this was going to be a debate. But I mean, with the 49ers against Arizona, I guess, you know, the thing you got to worry about there is the blowout and, you know, Debo and Purdy not having to do much. But
gonna get
otherwise,
a lot of Mason if it gets out of hand quick.
But I mean, otherwise, you know, that's obviously a great combo to have this week. And then Mostert he's got 16 touchdowns this year now, I think I saw, or
after the 2 tonight.
Yeah, and against the Jets again, who I think he had 2 touchdowns against them last time. So can't imagine Evans is going to put up another donut. And then he's got Metcalf against Philly with if Geno Smith plays. That's yeah. Big so good matchups there.
Oh yeah.
But and you know, with Javi, we talked about the Bills defense is, you know, okay, you know, tougher than the Cardinals defense, but that could, if that turns into a shootout, he's obviously going to get a lot of points from his, you know, Dak and Lamb stack, but maybe not from the Cowboys defense unless they, you know, get a touchdown or something. So it's a tough one to call. I kind of, you know, nothing against Javi, but I gotta be honest, I'm kind of rooting for Ricky. He just cleaned my clock this week. He's coming in hot, and he's, you know, got some good matchups. So that should be the game of the week, though, on paper, I think.
Yep.
100%. Look at that, Ricky. You got a supporter. See, stop complaining that you're getting dissed on all the time. Tim's rooting for you.
There you go.
Yeah. No, I love the matchup. But actually, I'll reserve my comment for the end, as I'm you know, the oldest brother in this situation, and I have to decide who's my favorite brother. But I'm gonna let you go, Cody, and decide how you look at this game.
I'm close to the family. I feel like I'm a brother too, but I could go ahead of you, Manny, out of respect. Looking at the matchups, just like Tim is, I really truly think this is going to be a high-scoring matchup between the two of them. Both these teams are probably going to put up over 100. I could see both people putting over 105. I wouldn't be surprised if they're kind of both within the top 3 scores of the entire week. It's unfortunate they just have to play each other in week 1 of the playoffs. Looking at the matchups, that matchup with Arizona is so enticing. Debo's coming off back-to-back 30-point weeks. Purdy is putting up 25 plus, you know, every week the past month. I kind of have to lean that way. Dallas is due for kind of a stinker. Saquon's going against New Orleans. That offense, if not for those 2 easy touchdowns, you know, he'd kind of have, you know, another single-digit day. Zach Moss doesn't have the same juice as he did in the beginning of the year. So unless Jonathan Taylor can just miraculously get healthy, I don't know if I quite see it for Javi as I do for Ricky. I'm going to say like 110, 105. I'm going to give it to Ricky probably by about 5 points. So I feel bad for Javi because his team really is solid. Maybe in another year it's a championship style team. But Ricky's rolling, high score, back-to-back weeks, peaking at the right time coming in the playoffs. Really positive matchups. He set his team up well. The trade where he fleeced you, Manny, really helped him out for this week. So the Purdy matchup that Tim kind of mentioned to him to pick up. He's really benefiting from this podcast here. So I'm going to lean Ricky 110, 105.
Ricky is definitely the most avid listener of the podcast. 100%. I will agree there.
And
yeah,
vocal.
even with the 2-point bump you gave it to Ricky.
Yeah,
that's impressive. Yeah, I looking up and down both rosters and both schedules. That Dak CD Lamb, stack, it's like 50 points, right? I automatically count it as 50. But when I look at the rest of the matchups, I'm like, ooh, Saquon against New Orleans at New Orleans, that is tough. That is really tough. Zach Montz against Pitt, that's tough. He doesn't have Aaron Jones. I don't think he'll be back. Jonathan Taylor's probably going to be out a little bit more. So his 2 running backs are definitely minus matchups there. T. Higgins against Minnesota. So I think that's where he has the edge to quarterback. And, T. Higgins is kind of weird. He's okay. But you definitely see the Cincinnati running backs benefiting a ton from this new Jake Browning situation. While Jake Brown has been good, the running Mixon and Chris Brown have been really getting a lot of that love. So I don't see Higgins blowing up. Where Javi has a unique edge here is that tight end position. George Kittle feeding off of those Brock Purdy points, right? We saw George Kittle get that big touchdown. If Brock throws him another big touchdown against Arizona, which I don't doubt that could happen against that terrible Arizona defense, it's going to be a big boost for Javi. While Ricky thinks he's getting those points, just negating them out with Kittle. So, that always is an interesting thing. Cowboys defense is another variable here where I'm like, I'm not sure what's going to happen in that game. If it's a blowout, it could be negative points for the Cowboys defense. Who knows? Or it could be 3 or 4, depending on how many turnovers they get on Josh Allen. Josh Allen's going to throw a pick. Can we all put money, $100 down on that and say he's going to throw a pick?
Maybe 2. I would bet the over if it was 1.5.
Right. So I'm with you there. Javi's definitely not great matchups yet. But now when we go look at Ricky, my goodness, I mean, he kind of had all the stars lined up for him. This San Francisco Arizona matchup is really just highlighting the entire week for him, and he could really crush here in kind of a unique situation where I don't think that's going to be the same in week 16, week 17. But if he can get by Javi this week, Ricky's got a pretty clear line for a championship. So as Cody did, yes, Ricky fleeced me. I thought it was getting out of my own way by getting rid of Mostert and Evans, and joke was on me. Both of them have been excellent, have been carrying him through on his great run. Evans next week's going to be in Green Bay, so I expect Evans to score 100%. He will score because that's what Mike Evans does, and Debo and Metcalf are going to go off. So, yeah, I think I give the edge to Ricky as well. If I put a percentage on it, I'm going to say, gosh, 52-48. It's that close. Okay. 52-48. So, I just think
I think for Javi, the timing of Taylor's injury was that sucked. I mean, losing him because like
and
Cody
Aaron
said,
Jones.
Yeah, I mean, and Aaron Jones has
not been spectacular.
He misses time all the time, it seems. But I mean, Jonathan Taylor was looking good, and then to have that injury, and Zach Moss just hasn't. Luckily he held on to him, but he hasn't looked the same, like you said, Cody, in the last few weeks. And Jonathan Taylor was getting into form, so that was a definite blow.
I saw a stat. Zach Moss has had, I believe, 9 carries within the 5-yard line and scored 0 touchdowns on them. So it's he's about to break a record, it sounds, unfortunately.
And that, Jonathan Taylor with 9 carries inside the 5-yard line, that's probably at least 5 touchdowns. So
agreed.
Just that definitely hurt. And then just based on the matchups, it's hard not to give the edge to Ricky, but I wouldn't be upset if either of them won. No issues with either of you guys, but yeah, kind of rooting for the underdog here.
No indictment on Javi's team at all. Javi's team, I love watching the Cowboys and him see that stack work. It's awesome. Love that. But yeah, Ricky, I think Ricky just got way too much. He probably has the most favorable matchups out of anybody this week. That's
a lot of green.
So, yeah, a lot of green. So look good for you, Ricky. Lucky dog. That's how you want to go into the playoffs. If you can project that out to see that, that's great. But yeah, well, I'm looking forward to seeing
what he was doing.
Almost.
He did mention to me about a month ago that he was trying to set his lineup and his ad drops to work out for week 15 for round 1, just so he can at least win round 1 of the playoffs. And I laughed at him and I was like, it looks like me and you are playing round 1. I don't believe you. He was right. I don't know if he really meant to do it, but it's looking good for him.
So you're glad you're not playing him.
I sure
might be playing round 2.
I sure am.
Yeah.
I'll hopefully see you in week 15, buddy.
16.
Week 16. Yeah, sorry, week 16.
Oh, yeah, week 16.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think you will.
Yep,
I think you will.
We'll see. I still got to get past you first, Tim. You're a veteran of the game and multi-time champ. I'm not overlooking you, man.
I appreciate it, but yeah, I've had better years, so we'll see.
True.
That's true. Yeah, that running back situation, Tim, just took you for a loop this year. You got the running back bug that just went down.
Yeah.
Almost, yeah.
Dobbins was ready for a monster year.
Yeah, but I mean,
it happens.
Another guy here had the same thing. Lost Chubb, lost Kyron Williams for a month or however long he was out. So
yeah,
yeah, it wasn't ideal, but I drafted way worse. So yeah, gotta do my homework a little bit better. I gotta bring my C- game up to at least a B+ for draft day next year. So
he wasn't used to the altitude. That was the problem.
Yeah. Cody said that day I had altitude sickness, and that was definitely it. I just hadn't adjusted yet, so
yeah,
I think I'm adjusted now.
There we go.
Well, we're gonna get you back to California for the draft next year. Remember, live draft. We're not having any more Chat GPTs. We're not having any more IBM Watsons.
We're gonna have to vote on it. We're gonna have to vote on it though. Barbecue.
Barbecue. We're gonna. You gotta make a presence felt. You can't have some proxy drafting for you. This nonsense. Otherwise, you're auto drafting
anonymously over the internet, Alex or whoever might have done it.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm looking forward to taking down IBM Watson this week. Done it once.
Well, I hope you do. I'm rooting for you. My prediction is Alex, but I'm rooting for Manny deep down. You got the league behind you, Manny.
Let's go. Gardner Minshew, here we come.
There we go.
All right, guys. Well, great show. Love the prediction show. Playoffs are on top of everybody's mind, and it's going to be one heck of a football week. And I'm glad I'll be home in from Chicago watching. And good luck to everyone out there.
That's right. I think we got 4 days of football: Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
4 days of football this week.
That's right. So we're going to slowly see these matchups progress.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too. Like I don't even know who's playing Monday. That's going to be brutal if waiting for the Monday night game.
Was this the one that got switched? Was it supposed to be Chiefs and Patriots, and it ended up getting flexed? Was that this week, I believe?
Yes, it's Eagles Seahawks Monday Night Football now.
There we go.
And that's going to have big fantasy implications. Implications.
Yep.
We got Rob with the Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown stack, and Ricky with DK Metcalf. Yeah, Manny with Charbonnet. I'm excited.
Yep, that's right. $99 vote Charbonnet 1.
Me possibly starting Gino.
Yeah, I just say you got a Gino decision to make.
That's big.
Oh man, that's gonna make it so much worse having it stretched out like that. Having these points all over the place on different days. So
it'll be interesting to see if anyone changes their lineup on Saturday night into Sunday morning based on what's been happening.
You might have to have Drew Lock on the bench just in case.
No,
not a bad idea.
Feel free to pick them up though if you want. Yeah.
I tell you, Bailey Zappi, Gardner Minshew, they all look great.
Gino's question. Unless Gino is has no designation on Sunday, I can't take that gamble. I don't think.
Can't take. So, yeah, I'm with you. Can't wait till Monday night, of course. And you don't want to be housing Drew Lock. That's just a bad feeling all around.
I'll go with Russ, even though I hate him. But, yeah. All right, guys.
Crazy games. All right, guys. Yeah, good show. Good stuff. We'll catch up next week, and good luck. And we'll see who gets through, and we'll have a lot to talk about.
There we go. See you guys next week.
Yep. See you next time.
Thank you for listening, everyone. Have a good one.